1.
Great. Hi, everybody. Oh, didn't know where to look. This is Door Monster. And we're here with...
Jeffrey!
Matlock.
John.
And Allison. And eventually Kyle.
And me.
And Kyle. There it is.
That's probably very loud. I yelled that right into the microphone.
Oh, no. Rip. Rip. And so I guess this stream is just going over...
Well, so first we got to do the audio dance.
Sound, 42.
So that means they have sound. I don't know how awful the sound is though. So let us know if it sounds okay. If you can hear everybody.
Is there sound?
Is there sound?
Here.
Is it terrible?
Yep.
We got sound.
You can read it from there?
We got sound.
Kind of.
It's on a delay.
2020.
See, I just popped up there, so it's
Oh,
gonna wait for a couple seconds.
Why is everyone...
Less sound, more sound, no sound.
There's so much positivity. I just love this.
There's so much 42.
Everybody, it's Matt. Matt's everyone's favorite.
Huh? Yeah.
Matlock.
Kyle, get in here. So
You haven't actually been on the
stop
stream, haven't you?
No, I've
awkwardly
never been on
stumbling
a
around.
Well, I'm waiting to see if they tell us the audio's trash before I squeeze in there.
Let it. Type dolphin if the audio is garbage. Now we wait.
They said it sounds good.
Sounds
It's great.
Good.
Yeah,
I got a yeet.
sounds good.
No dolphins.
Okay.
Nope.
Cool.
Sick.
Lots of
Well,
42s.
cool.
I somehow don't believe them.
It's still pretty far behind because my arms aren't even up. They're. Oh,
We didn't have sound.
No,
Sounded
there's
good.
Matt.
Sounded bad.
I just introduced Matt.
The live chat should be up to date. It's not match. It doesn't match that.
Hey, can all of you explain the 42 thing at the same time?
It's the
Answer to
answer to the
everything?
universe or something, whatever, from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Because none of these people have ever read any other book.
Nope.
These are our fans. They only read that one book. That's it.
Summed up well. Would you like to?
Yeah, I can now. I set both of those to record. The camera's definitely gonna stop recording at some point. So I don't know how.
All right. No one is saying dolphin.
Nope.
So I think we're good.
They are saying dolphin, but only in the
They're
context of that
using
they.
it wrong.
They're saying using it in the.
They're
They're
being
using.
jerks.
Oh.
They're using it in the context that they want whales.
What?
No dolphins, only whales.
Only whale.
No dolphins, only whales. This is fine.
Okay.
This is fine.
This is too.
Do we have any moderators?
Are you not allowed to stream chat on
We should. If we have this
feedback?
many people, there should be moderators
Do we have
already on.
mods? I don't see any mods.
I haven't seen
good at charades once that we went with like isms basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it just did all these phrases that we had to act out.
Once you can do the whole sounds like.
Right.
It's like it's
2
too
words,
easy.
first word.
Yeah, it's too easy when you.
Band crabs. Oof.
We didn't do that.
Yay.
Yeah.
Someone said yay. Why yay?
Oh,
Is it working? Can you hear us?
it's up. I hear you.
Okay.
There's sound.
Yes.
Oh hail the mighty
Cool.
sound gods.
I'm not gonna touch anything.
If it
The
goes
rest of the
bad, it
stream?
goes bad forever.
Yep. We'll just light the apartment on fire and move out. And call it a
Sounds
night.
pretty good too. Oh god.
That's
Hi everybody, I'm Kyle, and that's why we're not live streaming the Pathfinder games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, but we might though.
No, we're not. We're gonna record them.
They're pre-recorded.
Oh,
We're not live streaming
right,
anything.
right.
We're not doing that crap. This is exactly why.
It's true.
You know why Critical Role works? Because they have an entire studio team behind the set that's doing this the entire time.
That's fair.
We are
And they still have sound problems. They still start up without being able to hear half the people on there.
Everyone's very excited for the sound.
Alright. Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Sorry about that.
Thank you for staying.
Means
I feel like that's just the opening to every, like 90% of streams on the internet, though. Hi guys, welcome. Sorry about those 30 minutes.
It's definitely us. Like at this point, if people like tune in thinking we're gonna start on time, it's their fault. Realistically, we've never started a stream on time, ever, not a single time.
Ian
Anyway.
mentioned before his favorite Onion article is podcast host promises better audio next time. It's pretty universal experience.
All right.
Well, hi guys. Welcome to this stream, which is not a Pathfinder game. We are thinking about recording some of our Pathfinder games on the current campaign that we are running. We just kind of started doing one casually this year. We're having a lot of fun with it. And we thought it might be cool to record a session and just see if it's if it still feels as fun to play, and if it's something I can like edit together and put up on the channel. Then we thought it'd be fun just to kind of share with you guys. But to start with, we wanted to do a little like introduction, I guess, where we sort of describe what's happened so far, because we've already done like 6 sessions, maybe. I'm not sure how many.
Sounds
we've done.
about right.
Yeah. That sounds right.
Yes,
Previously.
Yeah.
Because I know I missed one.
So this is our previously on segment, where we're just going to kind of
Starting
go
from
over
the beginning.
people's characters, start at the beginning of the story, and talk about what's happened
Do
so
we do
far.
our backstories?
Probably.
I
Probably
would
not.
say just do like we'll do like a general character intro, just sort of like who
Yeah.
you are, what your class and race are, what your general like abilities are, and like personality essentially.
Okay.
And then we can just kind of tell the story as we go.
Let's do it.
Our players are going to be telling the story for the most part, just because I don't want to accidentally like say something that they don't know yet. Because I got a lot of stuff that I keep track of all the time. And then if we do end up recording them, this will go up in the same playlist as sort of like an introduction to the series. So yeah,
Okay.
sound good?
Yeah.
So
Let's go. Did Ricky respond about tacos?
almost definitely not.
Ugh.
This will go for about
Somebody
an
feed
hour
tacos.
probably, because we have some other stuff we gotta do after this.
So we should probably do this chronologically. We could do it like each major story piece. We could each do a character thing, and then
Well, to start with, let's introduce characters, actually.
Yeah.
We started off in our first session with a big Coliseum battle between our first 4 characters, which were these 4 here. Jeffrey ended up joining in a little bit later. So starting down with Matt, one other thing. This has nothing to do with Altered Egos. I've seen a few questions about it. Altered Egos was the other Pathfinder stream we tried doing a few years ago. That's Ian's thing. I think everybody who was involved in it is still interested in playing it if it became an option again, but it's his thing to run, so you have to talk to him about it. But this is
You can
unrelated.
mention
This is a completely
This is
different thing.
Kyle's thing and our thing.
So that might still come back eventually. That it has nothing to do with this.
Who is
It's
Bard?
Completely disconnected.
Who is Slade?
We are. This game is playing. It's Pathfinder. It's not Dungeons and Dragons. It is a separate game system that's basically Dungeons and Dragons, but with way more details.
All right.
So, Matt, who are you
and
in
we'll
the game?
break the rules.
My character is Crowboy,
Oh, here. Come on, Matt.
spelled Creaux.
Do you have the pictures?
B-O-I, I think.
Boy.
Crowboy.
Oh boy.
And he is
I thought
a...
you said you were gonna touch anything.
I lied.
Oh, he's going to flash a picture of Crowby.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
god,
You're
it's
gonna
gonna
see
ruin everything.
No, this shouldn't.
No.
If it's already on, it's not already on there.
Now you go.
All right, so I'm Crow Boy. I am a whatever the bird race is.
Oh, good, you did do it right. Okay.
Gosh, what are they called?
Tengu.
I'm a Tengu. He's a very metropolitan bird. He's a musician, as you can see. He plays the hurdy-gurdy, his favorite instrument. Look up a YouTube video in another tab. Because the hurdy-gurdy is, like, the most metal instrument of the Middle Ages. And he likes, as you can see, he likes accessories, much like any bird. He picks up the shiny things that he finds and places them in his feathers. A bit full of himself, because he knows he's hot.
A bit.
You know, he doesn't have much interest in fighting, but despite that, he's still the best fighter there is. Yeah, that's about it.
Thomas.
Okay, my turn. My character's name is Deathocles or Deathocles, depending on your, I guess, your accent. He is a gargoyle psychic, and of like an Aquarian race, so he looks Cthulhu-y. He's a bit of a space cadet, kind of. He's kind of the quiet type. He's from like an ancient time,
Space Cadet.
so he doesn't really get a lot of the modern world, but he's piecing it together a little bit. Pretty smart dude. Those wings are just aesthetic, unfortunately, but they look dope.
Are you telling me your concrete wings can
Yeah,
fly?
my concrete wings aren't very good at
What are
keeping
you
me in
made
the
of?
air.
Stone, I guess.
I'm made
But
out
what's
of stone,
stone.
like a pretty black kind.
Are you made out of stone? I thought you just looked like stone.
It's obsidian. No, it's
No,
not.
it's not
It's
obsidian.
been a bit vague, I guess.
Yeah,
you're not,
there's
you're
not
not
really-
strictly stone, but you can freeze like stone, and you have like damage resistance.
I like how
was-
this
I
person's
was
comment
not-
says, "That's Cthulhu. You can't fool me."
He's a gargoyle Cthulhu.
Edgy.
I think initially,
Edgy.
correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but I'm pretty sure initially I was not a stone creature.
Right.
I was made into stone at some point. So now I am a stone creature.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh.
We,
So he has the stone skin disease.
we should show, because they're asking who did those pictures. Kyle drew all of
Oh, yeah.
those.
Kyle-
yeah,
Kyle did all
in
that.
like half an hour.
Kyle did all
And
the
then we also
pictures.
showed up to the first game, and he presented us with like character sheets that were like on special paper.
Yeah.
Like old
They
parchment-looking
paper.
They
paper.
looked old.
Ye olde
He had
paper.
crinkled
Yeah.
them, set them on fire a little bit, give
Yeah.
them a super duper like.
He's an insane person. He can do
Rustic.
nothing halfway.
Nope.
They're great.
Allison, how about yours?
My character's name is Fifi Bumblesocks. She is a fairy, and she is a gunslinger. She's a gunslinging fairy.
Tiny.
I don't remember the details you guys went. Did you give backstory?
Only a little bit.
Just like who you are.
Oh, okay,
what's
yeah.
What's your motivation?
Her family is dead, and she's trying to figure out why. And she accidentally ended up in a different plane. She's from the Fey plane, Fey world type thing. Her gun is magic. It is magic powered, but it shoots normal bullets.
So the
yeah.
magic replaces the gunpowder.
Yes, sort
No.
of.
Well, magic
No,
powered,
it's
yeah,
really-
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
magic,
well, magic-
magic explosion instead of gunpowder explosion.
It's that really great word that we get to
But
throw
there's no
around called
projectile.
energy.
Yeah, it's
Well, I don't keep track of
God damn
ammo
it.
because that sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, it's magical in all the ways that make it more convenient to use.
Yeah.
Pathfinder.
I guess that's probably it. Is that all the detail you guys went into?
Sounds good. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's enough.
You're a fairy that shoots stuff.
That's
Did you
me.
mention how dumb you were?
Oh, I have very low intelligence.
And your dexterity is
But-
like 21.
Yes, but I'm incredibly hard to hit. But I'm very charismatic. So in Pathfinder,
Did you
fairies
get
are
filled in, or
described
did it
as
happen before you
looking
showed up?
like
Like-
10-year-olds.
Yeah,
They have like child faces, and they're about Barbie's size. They're about
they're a foot
this
tall.
big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, rewind a little bit.
Oh.
What are your highest and lowest stats? Just because it gives people a good idea. Of, you remember?
I think my charisma is my highest, or maybe my
That makes sense,
dexterity.
you're
My charisma is my highest, and then my lowest is like, I don't know, being bad at stuff.
Weird.
Fair enough. How about Thomas? How about you?
I think my int is my highest and my charisma is my lowest.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah,
Or
you're
dex.
not charismatic.
I'm not very dexy either.
You're
Alright.
definitely not charismatic, though.
I am
Speak-
very not charismatic.
Speaking of low dex, John.
Ah,
So I am a a 16-foot tall Christmas tree treant named General Douglas Fir. I wield a giant battle axe, one-handed. And I make the I make all the puns, so General Douglas Fir is a high wisdom character, but very low intelligence character, and but he's high strength and high constitution because he's a tree, but very low dex because he's a tree. He goes around pretty much just kind of he's trying to find someone that he's looking for, an old friend, after he was sold into slavery and then sold to Mr. Millennium, and met these guys, and he's just kind of a nuisance because he's pretty arrogant, constantly tries to be in charge. This is why he calls himself a general despite never having led an army. And
I didn't know that.
So he generally just kind of gets in people's way and kind of makes good decisions sometimes and very bad decisions most times. So
Doesn't he though?
he does.
He does.
He's very head first.
And then we have Jeffrey, who I actually don't have your character art ready still. I apologize. I will have it for the next session. But
let's see here. My character's name is Vaz. He is a half-orc shaman. I came into the game with how many games after since it started?
Three or four.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought it was more than that. So basically I grew up in this village that they came through and helped them with some of missions that they had to go through a cave and fight several things. See, my character, since he's a shaman, I believe he's high wisdom? Is it wisdom?
I'm pretty sure yours is wisdom, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's yours.
And I feel like everything else was fairly average.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm basically, I came in as, like, the group's only healer because they have nothing. So, yeah, my job is just to kind of keep everyone alive.
Yeah, why did
a lot
you
more difficult than I expected it to be.
Yeah, Jeffrey, why did you get thrown into our game?
Because we needed a
Y'all were gonna die.
Right?
Because they were getting themselves killed.
Yeah.
Pretty much dying on the reg.
There was a point, like, after 3 sessions, I contacted Jeffrey and I was like, so hey, we're playing this Pathfinder game and they're gonna die because I don't have anybody who has healing spells. So can you come, like, as a guest spot at least for a few episodes? And he's probably sticking around. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks that way.
Thanks to General Douglas Fir.
Yeah.
They're asking about the blue-faced man in the corner.
That's a great segue into the first session. So who wants to start off on the actual story?
Perfect.
You should probably start off, Kyle, because you put us in the situation.
Sure, okay. I'll get it started off and then I'll hand it off to you guys.
Sure.
Okay.
So we opened up the session with a coliseum out in the middle of a jungle. If anyone has played, I think 5th edition, I'm using the continent of Corvair as the map, but I'm completely butchering all of it. I just needed a map that I didn't have to draw out myself, so I took it and I was like, I'm going to take all these names and I'm going to decide what's there on my own. So it looks the same, but I'm not referencing pretty much anything about the story. But they are down in the jungle peninsula in the southeast, I think. We started off in this big coliseum, and each one of them was found independently and purchased, hired, or befriended by a man named Mr. Millennium, who is the guy you see in the corner there. He's a strange, charismatic blue man who owns this coliseum and seems to lead the town. And he's pretty much just based off of Jeff Goldblum from Thor Ragnarok, actually. But it started off with all 4 of these guys being pitted against each other in the Coliseum to see who was strongest and who would become the leader of a task force he was putting together. So you guys want to recount what happened in
the Coliseum episode?
That first fight?
Yeah. Well,
it was
mostly just a fight, which is a little hard to convey.
That's true.
We fought a lot. John was the first one out,
Yeah,
right?
somehow Douglas
Yeah.
Fur died first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Barbarian.
Well, because I was the giant tree that everyone
Well,
focused.
okay, to be clear, 3 people were fighting, and Crowboy was running around.
Crowboy doesn't-
yeah, no. I saw it as my opportunity because I am a showman, and I care more about being loved and famous and popular than about fighting everything. So I was just kind of hyping the crowd up, like running around, playing my hurdy-gurdy, like, and they were all killing each other. So it worked out good for me.
He somehow manages to always be doing the least amount of stuff, but always coming out on top.
Yeah.
We would be screwed without him.
Yeah, we would be. He always ends up saving the day, despite the fact absolutely doing nothing to try and save the day.
Yes.
Literally the most accurate
It's perfect.
description.
Yeah.
So John was out first, and then I was out next, and then it came down to Crowboy and Deathocles.
Well, I can give a little bit more
Yeah,
detail.
attack off.
I can give a
Yeah.
little more detail to kind of give the scene a bit
Do
better.
it.
So
Lay
it
we
out.
were fighting in a coliseum, and then all of a sudden the things. It was kind of an elemental kind of shift area thing.
Yes.
The at first it was a large wind tunnel. Basically, wind started circling around the outside, and everyone pretty much couldn't stand. And Fifi was like really having a hard time because she's like tiny.
Oh, yeah.
We had to try and overcome that first. I was a tree, so I was fine. But then all of a sudden the ground started moving and platforms started coming out and raising up.
Yeah.
And then after the platforms came up, it started filling up with water.
Yeah, so it was whole like it did like a full round of like Pokemon Stadium stages through the fight, and then eventually came down to just you two just like in the mud circling around one of the posts until I think you got like one like hit in on him.
Yeah.
ahead of
Because
him.
I was dodging and hiding behind a platform that had risen.
So we had no context, right? So we were starting this off, and it's like we're in a coliseum. I don't actually know if I'm supposed to kill anybody, so I'm not like aiming full force at anyone.
They're still asking about the blue face. So just to reiterate, the blue face is Mr.
Oh.
Millennium, the owner of the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The campaign so far has just been called the Millennium Campaign. He's sort of the
The driving
Center of it.
force.
So we actually had to get everyone down to 0 HP, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like you had to.
No, you were fighting to the death. It was,
Yeah, we were.
When-
and so
It's
John was,
Coliseum.
When they died,
You
a
know
bunch
that?
of paramedics flew in on like flying carpets and just
Oh, yeah,
rappelled
that's right.
down and pulled them out.
And
Right.
someone tried to bribe them. I think it was John.
Oh yeah, I knew there
Bribe
was someone trying to bribe
I didn't
him.
try and bribe anyone, I don't think.
Maybe it was you. That sounds more like you.
Yeah. So John goes out first, I go out second. You guys are fighting about something.
We're just like running around a pillar, like
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were
that's
each very close to dying, so it was like peek out, attack, hide. Peek out, attack, hide.
Yeah.
I think
I
more
think I
or
tried to
less
like make a
going in.
jump and missed. Like I was trying to get on top of a
Oh
thing.
yeah,
so-
because
Yeah.
I was the one I was hiding behind. I think.
Yeah.
So Deathocles
But I
ends
have
up
a-
winning.
It was like a
Yeah.
psychic thrust move,
Yeah.
which is neat
Mind
because
thrust.
mind thrust.
Mind thrust.
Yeah,
The best power, like legit.
yeah,
just
that's
ridiculous.
been my crutch.
What can you do now? You can roll like 5d8 against people or something, just without even making
Yeah,
an attack roll.
it's not D8. I think it's D. Is it D8? No,
I think
it's
it's
got
up to d8 now.
D6.
Maybe in your next level.
No, it's the number of die I get to roll goes up. I don't think the die goes up, or at least hasn't
Yeah,
yet.
I don't remember what it is exactly, but it's insane.
But yeah.
Anyway, he won.
So I won.
They all get restored in the infirmary, and then Mr. Millennium lets them know that he's putting together a task force to kind of go out and basically just take care of things that he can't because he's stuck dealing with the day-to-day at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
And specifically, he wants them to capture things and send them back so that he has more stuff for the Coliseum. So he gives them a wand that they can use to basically just Pokeball different monsters. They can
Yeah.
touch it to things, and if they're weak enough, it will teleport them via teleportation spells back to the Coliseum.
Yeah. But if they're not weak enough, it won't work, and we can't ever use it on that monster again.
For a day. You have like
Oh.
that's a reset of 1 day for each
I see.
attempt.
But that
Okay.
specific entity, not
Yeah.
that type of monster.
Right.
And so he then sent you guys out on a test run into the jungle with the instructions, basically just like impress me, like,
Yeah.
find something for
Yeah.
me, and just kind of let you guys loose.
Yeah.
The very first, so we got to go to the armory
Okay.
and select some basic like necessities before venturing out.
Yeah, this is important actually because Douglas asked for 2 health potions, which comes into play later.
Yes, it does. That does actually
Yeah.
become incredibly important.
Just wanted to mention that.
We had the bag too, right?
Not yet. That wasn't until after you guys got
Oh,
back.
that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
You were given
Sorry. Spoilers,
you were
guys.
given nothing. You were told you
After-
could grab
well, is
something
there
if you
anything-
wanted. But
Not really an
Remember-
antagonist. He's more of the instigator.
So after
so far,
we leave
at least.
the Coliseum,
That was probably the hardest part as a party to like figure out how our dynamic as a party worked, because we
Oh
go
my
into the
God.
village around the Coliseum, because the Coliseum isn't isolated. It's in the
It's a
middle of
town,
town. It's kind of like a little
Pokey
bustling
Bard.
village. So we go out, and that part was.
well,
the
okay,
hardest thing
so
to do.
for whatever reason, we were looking for a dragon. Were we looking for a dragon?
You
No.
were looking for
Until
something.
We were, yeah.
We were
Yeah,
looking for
just
something, and then we
told
had,
looking for something, and so
we stumbled
went-
across kobolds first, though.
We what?
Didn't we go across the kobolds
Yeah,
before
but
the
we were
dragon?
in the village.
Yeah,
we
first
were in
I
the
went
village
hat
outside
shopping.
of the Coliseum,
Yes,
and
we
I don't know,
did.
I don't know anything that exists in this world, and so I go and I buy a little wooden figurine that I think is a
Oh, yeah.
dragon, and I'm like,
What is it actually?
It's a
It's a-
It was
T-Rex.
It was a T-Rex, yeah.
It was a
Okay.
lizard.
No one
Yeah.
ever identified anything, but it was a T-Rex.
It's a T-Rex, and so I just assumed it was a dragon based off the description from other people, and then
Yeah, and
Douglas Fir
she shows
rips it out of my hands and then crushes it.
she shows it to me, and then I just grab it and I crush it because Douglas Fir
Is an asshole.
hates lizards,
It's a
Yeah.
T-Rex.
which also comes into play
I
later.
was going to say that's relevant. And yes,
How
Crowboy
stupid
was
are
hat
you to
shopping.
think that the wooden figurine I'm holding is a real lizard?
It
enough to
made me
crush it?
angry.
No, sorry, he hates
So
lizards
many
and he's also an asshole.
Are an asshole.
Well, yes, also, yeah, he's also
Okay,
an asshole.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Important
that
distinction.
so we were having trouble figuring out our character dynamic, and then John said it for us immediately.
So
and
you
then
guys
I don't-
eventually wander your way into the jungle,
Yeah.
and I think encounter a few giant spiders that you're fighting off,
So, yeah, I think our
Oh
very first.
jeez.
until a whole bunch of them start just descending from the trees,
That was wild.
and then
Well, who messed that one up?
I set
Always.
the forest on fire because
you did do
because
that.
I was like, ooh, webs.
Still
I can
right.
light those on fire.
They were like, but that's because we killed like 5, and then like another herd was
Yeah,
coming.
they just started like
They were, like,
descending.
It
endless
was a gruesome
spiders.
battle with like one, or
Yeah.
was it one or
you,
two?
you fought 3, I
Okay.
think, and then a whole bunch.
So it was
started
a
coming up.
rough battle against
Yeah.
3 of them.
You guys
Yeah.
were running. You caught one. You ended up
That's
hitting
right.
one
We
with a wand and
pokeballed
sending
one.
it
Yeah,
back.
we wanted one of them.
This is the kobolds.
This
No,
was just the spiders.
spiders.
Oh,
This
right,
was
right,
the
the
spiders
spiders,
started
right.
getting speared from a distance, and all these kobolds ran in. Like,
And I was holding
killed,
it.
Yeah, we fought the first 3. We were pretty bruised up, and then there were just millions of them surrounding us.
This is such a cute introduction story because, like, as we're in the woods, we're all trying to fight him. I'm doing damage. I'm actually like hitting him. You're having a hard time because there's spiders, and you basically
oh right,
do,
your
like,
mind powers didn't work.
attacks.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
And then we have a tree, and he's actually doing damage too.
Yeah.
And
But
then
I'm also immune to poison, so I can just grab them.
That's true.
and
Yeah.
then Crowboy lights the forest on fire.
It was all I had.
One of our teammates is a tree,
Yeah.
so we just see John go like, and we just see Douglas Fir just like bolt another
Yeah, he's-
direction
he's-
to run away from the fire. And then I think me and Deathocles went one way, and I think he might have followed. We left, we like
split up.
split. He ran a different direction. We ended up back together.
Yeah, you pretty
But-
much all ran the same direction, and then you were found by kobolds.
He just
That's
Also,
we were
yeah.
I
saved
think he
by
was just
kobolds.
first,
Which
right?
I
He was
promptly
like, I'm leaving because
Took care of.
Worth
he's
mentioning
flammable.
to answer Kitty Shipper Cave Girl's question. They all started at level 3,
Mm.
and by the
Oh
end
yeah,
of it,
good question.
by next session, you guys are at level 5.
Kitty Shipper Cave Girl.
So then we started the next session with you guys being led through the forest by the kobolds into their camp.
Yes.
And do you guys remember what
Um,
happened after that?
Yes.
So we got to the Cobalt camp.
Which is basically like on a
Oh,
like
the
a
co-
And then
cliff face,
this is
Right,
where
they
this is
captured us.
this
The
is the
first one
session
was
I
just
was
in
not
the
there
woods,
for.
So the first
Right,
Yeah,
one was
John,
just in the woods.
John actually wasn't present. So as they make it into the camp, Douglas mysteriously disappears because I didn't want to deal with playing him the whole
He
time.
caught on fire.
Um,
Had to go put himself out.
Yeah, the tree managed to slip away into the trees as the rest of them like were led in there.
John's character, Douglas Fir, is 16 feet tall.
Yeah. It's a weird game to plan for because she's a foot tall and he's 16 feet and they're everywhere in between. So like
Yeah.
planning just like physical spaces for them to go to is hard.
So we go to the first Cobalt camp, and they're kind of homely, I guess.
They saved us, right? They saved our asses.
Well, they captured us.
They saved you from the spiders technically.
just
Well, they
They
saved
did.
us from the spiders. They let us off. We weren't sure if we were captured or not.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, they took us to their village, and then I'm trying to remember the.
They were like,
instigation.
if you're gonna stay, we need you to defeat our monster.
They took you to their dragon for judgment.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They-
Oh,
I was
right.
gonna say, yeah,
That's right,
it was
that's right.
judgment.
They were like, we need to take you to our leader or something for judgment.
Kobolds are great because they think that they're related into dragons.
For anyone who doesn't know what a kobold is, kobolds are lizard people. That's gonna come
Tiny
in.
little lizard
That's
people.
gonna be important in a second.
At
They're
least
like
in our
gecko
world.
people.
Yeah, they're like gecko people.
And so they take us to like this cave. Is it the cave one?
There's like a
It's
cave
a
mouth
little,
and a clearing.
it's a smaller cave.
And they're like, you're gonna have to face up to our dragon, and he's gonna judge you and decide whether or not you're.
And we're like
You should
prepping up.
be
We're like,
executed.
Yeah.
oh shit.
So we're standing there waiting for this dragon to come out of this cave, and doink, doink, doink. Out comes was it 2 feet tall?
About
It was about 2 feet tall, kind of velociraptor shaped
Yeah.
thing. I imagine it is not Littlefoot. The small dinosaur in the dinosaur
Oh, yeah,
movie that we
Petrie?
watched this kid.
Oh,
That's-
no. Yeah.
Who is it? Who is it?
No, Petrie is the flying
Petrie's
one.
It's Sarah.
It was.
No.
Oh,
Sarah's
Sarah.
the
That don't say
Triceratops.
Sarah. That makes me sad.
I'm sorry.
Sarah's the Triceratops.
But yeah, 2 feet
Oh
tall.
wait, is she the Triceratops?
Velociraptor thing, colorful. Did it have feathers?
It didn't have feathers. It
No.
did have weird blue vein
It was-
things.
that's
on
right,
it.
it was
from
blue.
Jurassic Park.
It
right?
was
It was like it was about like a tiny one. Like they were. I think in real life, like the actual like velociraptors are like tiny, are
Little
short.
babies.
So it's
Anyway.
like
Oh, yeah.
that, yeah.
I
Yeah.
am sure.
Velociraptors are tiny. Utah raptors are big.
I am sure that this is a dragon.
yes.
Like this time.
Thoroughly.
Like I know that it's bigger than me. And I'm like, this is the dragon. I mean, they said it was a dragon.
The kobolds are also convinced it's a dragon.
Well, I was sure it was a dragon. But we weren't sure if we were supposed to kill it. So we didn't
Well,
do anything. We were
so
just
doesn't-
waiting. But then it sees me right flying
Right,
around.
yeah, it starts like trying to chase and eat you.
It tries to eat me.
And kind of a playful-ish way. I mean, definitely you were prey, but also kind of playful. It wasn't going that hard.
And
It was
I'm
like,
trying not to I'm trying not to be rude. So I'm like shooting bullets to the side of it
Oh, yeah,
to like
yeah.
freak it out a little bit because I'm trying not to.
Well, you were like, I want to shoot at it, and I was like, make an attack roll then, and you did it, and then it hit and took down half of its health, and you were
Oh,
like,
I
I was just
know.
trying to graze it. It was like, you didn't say you were trying to graze it, you said you shot at it.
Oh.
Point blank in the shoulder blades.
Yeah.
And yeah, it had a spot that was simmering. It was bad.
Oh, I
It was
felt
bad.
terrible.
So then it just turned into this like cartoon with all of you guys like trying
We
to
tried
like,
to
jump
ca-
on this thing
we
and
tried
it's
to
running around in a
capture it.
circle.
We didn't want to hurt it, so we were trying to grab it, physically grab it.
You have handle animal,
What-
right? So you were trying to like.
Yes,
It was
like
having
3
none of
times. It was.
It's probably your low charisma, and you're also terrifying.
I was gonna say I tried to get it to come to me. That didn't work. It was in my hand at one point.
Didn't we
At
just
one
kill
point,
Yeah.
it got in my hand, but I didn't actually make the move to grab.
You coaxed it into your hand.
I
and
did.
You were
I
like,
was like,
haha,
come
I
here,
have
come
it,
here,
and then
come
it jumped away.
And it was like, cat, just kidding, and gone.
And I think eventually you caught it and sent it back to the Coliseum
Ducky.
also.
Yeah.
It's Ducky.
Oh yeah, that was
That's
the
right.
next one.
Ducky.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the sad one.
What's
Um,
the set? What?
From
You hit
Later
the-
Before Time.
Yeah, the
eventually
voice actress.
You hit it with the wand,
Yeah.
Yes.
and it disappeared. And then the Kobold
Oh,
Raiders
right.
kind of started freaking out because you made their dragon disappear. So
Like,
they
holy shit.
They weren't gonna
F for
mess with
Ducky.
us anymore.
they struck up. They requested that you go to their rival camps.
Yep.
Their rival tribes camp
This is where shit
and
goes
take their
down.
dragon instead and bring it back to them because otherwise they were going to lose the loyalty of their entire tribe.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets nuts.
So then they headed off through the woods again, found this other camp up on top of a cliff.
Yeah.
And you guys got there and found out that right off the bat, first impressions, these kobolds were way better off than the previous kobolds.
They had their shit
Oh.
together.
Oh yeah.
And this is the first time you guys actually like planned out a whole thing. which
Yeah,
was
we sat there in
exciting
the
for me.
bushes going like, okay,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do?
It's the scene in the movie where everyone puts their differences aside and decides to work
Yeah,
together.
bonds.
Hold up.
No, they're putting F for Ducky. It's not.
Oh,
for
F
us.
for Ducky.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, fair.
I don't know how to do this without just
Okay,
being
so.
Chaos.
Oh,
Better
no.
than that.
You're good.
okay.
This
Chaos
is the
averted.
part where the rap breaks down. When somebody makes a sound. Everything looks like it's ain't.
Well, so Crowboy started it off.
Yeah. So.
Was in
It's just like a
Tentacle
camp
Fortress.
with like kobolds like milling around and like doing dumb stuff like poking each other in the eyes or whatever like kobolds do.
There was like stone walls and stuff and ruins and things. They had
Yeah,
taken
yeah.
over some previous building.
Okay, is this second
just-
edition
You're playing
Pathfinder or
Skyrim and there's like the elf, like
What
you
is
know.
It's the original. Second edition only just came out. We started this earlier.
So it's first edition Pathfinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're hanging out in some ruins. And there's a cave back there, and so I'm like, I'll start a distraction because that's pretty much all I'm good for at that point in the campaign. I can't fight for nothing, but I have a instrument, and so I go down, Crowboy goes down, and starts putting on a free concert in the park, and the kobolds love it.
You rolled high on. You rolled like a 30 or something.
Yeah, I
on your
rolled some
perform check for
stupid-
that. It was
yeah.
ridiculous.
Maybe performance is my highest stat.
Well,
Oh, right.
charisma is your highest
Right,
base
right.
stat, but your performance skill is I think plus 16 or something ridiculous like that.
So are you on the outside of the camp or are you on the inside?
He
of the
goes
camp?
right in the middle of it. He's
That's
just
true.
like
You just
yeah.
barge through.
I just start playing in the woods and walk up like I'm a traveling showman.
I just imagine the chicken from the Robin Hood Disney movie or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Just walking in with
Rooster.
the rooster. Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
he would have brought us tacos. You completely ignored it, and now I'm out of tacos.
I didn't ignore it. He got back. He said I would have done it before if he had seen it. He didn't see it. I have to get tacos later.
He got back from what?
Tacos.
From wherever he was.
He was getting
He
tacos.
says I didn't see this till now. It's not my fault.
Make him get his tacos. Anyway, so our plan is to go around the fortress. Dathocles and I are going around the fortress.
You're carrying him with fairy dust, right?
Yes.
Over
Oh,
the,
yeah.
over the
Forget.
fortress.
Oh, yeah.
So
we
wait,
should
real
go over
quick.
some special powers
as,
we have.
As a rules lawyering thing, yeah, this is kind of interesting because she has this ability to apply fairy dust to someone as a move action, and it gives them a move speed of 15 feet for a round.
Flying.
Yeah.
Fly. Yes, fly.
But she was a fly speed of 15 feet for a round.
Yes.
But then one of you guys asked well, if she just keeps doing it, can we just keep flying? And
Just put
I
her on
had to
backpack.
look through some stuff. I was like, I don't have anything that says she can't. So I
Yeah.
guess really, if she just sits on top of you, then you can just sort of fly indefinitely.
Just constantly fairy dust.
So
fairy dust.
So Pro Boy's over here just jamming out on this thing with literally the entire camp around him, while
Yeah.
off in the distance, Dathocles is just kind of floating it's a fly speed,
that's-
but it's like the mobility scooter version of flying. So he's just slowly hovering over this wall.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Well, now wait a second.
No,
So
that's what happened.
Yeah, you look so cute too.
We all actually have we all have a kind of a little special power. She can do that. I can talk to plants.
Oh yeah, you
Crowboy
can.
can probably do
Can we
something.
talk to plants?
He basically has talked to plant as just a regular
When did
power
you do
as a
that?
language.
I didn't know.
That's how we found the kobolds.
What? No.
No, the kobolds found us.
Yeah.
We were going towards them
When you
because
found the second camp, I think he actually asked which
Oh.
direction it was in. That's how you
That's-
found that.
The
you
kobolds
just went and
guided
started
us.
talking to a tree.
Oh my
Kobolds
god, I
won.
forgot about that. You guys had kobolds with
Yeah.
you as an
Yeah.
escort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We told them. Didn't we tell them to
I forgot
go
about
away
that.
because
Yeah.
they weren't useful?
Well, you guys
Oh,
had
right.
5 kobolds
They
with
were
you.
We had an
useful.
army. We had a small army of
We
kobolds.
did, yeah.
They followed you out into the clearing and were just sort of mingling with the rest of the kobolds while you guys
Oh,
were
during
sneaking
the
in.
Yeah.
concert.
Yeah. So you guys
Yeah.
you guys get beyond these. There's 2 layers of walls. You guys get past that, and
We
then
do.
there are 2 other kobolds that are still stationed at this dense forest tunnel that leads back into something.
Right.
Did we go over the geography pretty well already?
Clearing walls, and then there's sort of an opening in
Yeah.
the back
But
that
we're
leads somewhere.
on a cliff.
First it's cliff face, which we kind of scampered up with the kobolds, and then after a good distance into the cliff, there's wall number 1,
We'll get to you in a minute.
and then behind wall number 1, a little distance, there's wall number 2, and then there's a path that cuts through all the way from basically the first wall into the mountain,
Yeah.
and there's forest.
Well, into the forest. It's basically just really
Okay.
dense forest, but there's a clearing of a sort of path that leads
There
back
you
into
go.
it. So
Okay.
it's just walls of plant that just kind of leads back
Right.
into it.
Fire Kirby said he denounces genocide.
Great.
Good job.
On that
Right.
note,
Feel proud of yourself.
yeah, wait for it. Wait for
on,
it.
on that note,
So,
So
So
we're
the
about
point-
behind the second wall,
but
Yeah.
we think that's where the dragon is, right? Because
and
we're
there's
supposed to go
there's
defeat.
two, but there's two.
There's 2
kobolds
or there's
standing
4, I think, actually guarding it.
Right.
Only you and I are there because he's still hurdy-gurdying hard as a mud.
Doing great.
And Douglas
It's
is
working.
gone somewhere.
Douglas is still just hanging out.
So remember, you tried to sneak in, but
It didn't work.
got caught,
I did.
and then learned how weak kobolds are.
Right. I got caught, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take a shot, I guess. So I just take a shot, and it is out.
Yeah.
It's dead.
She just
Like-
one-shots the kobold, and she's like, hey, these things are squishy, so both of you just jump on it at that point.
Yeah, they were out. They were out in seconds. And then, so we go in through the foresty tunnel
Hey,
thing
these things
because
are
we're
squishy.
we can take a dragon on our own. We just saw a dragon. It's 2 feet tall.
A dragon.
Right, the dragon. So you
I
guys,
don't know any better.
Yeah, that's
If
what we were
someone
thinking.
else
At the,
did,
yeah, that's what we were thinking.
Maybe
at the
someone
time.
else should have said something.
so you guys find this just empty clearing with nothing in it for a second.
Right.
And then you hear something approaching, and I think you freeze because you have your
I
statue
have
ability.
an
where you
ability,
can-
yeah,
You
exactly.
get like plus 20 to stealth if you just don't move.
I'm just
No,
like, every time that happens, I actually just like hide behind his shoulder.
Yeah.
I can just like tuck down under.
I don't even think it's plus 20. If no one is around at the time and I don't move, I am just I appear as an object.
Right. You
Right.
I think it's the same as like taking a 20 on stealth essentially. So it's
okay.
technically somebody who was like really perceptive could still tell, but no average person is going to tell you apart from
Okay.
the statue.
Right.
Understood. I didn't know
Um,
that. Good to know.
But then out of the trees emerges a dragon,
A baby dragon.
an actual dragon.
A small one, but not 2 feet like our last dragon.
No, it's
This one is an
terrifying.
actual dragon.
And I'm like, we should go. And then
I'm a statue though. I'm pretending
Right.
to be a statue.
I'm like, we should leave.
So it looks up and sees him there,
Just in its clearing.
and just
Yeah.
kind of like
I don't remember
hones
coming
in on
there.
this thing, and drops whatever it's like it's dragging in some carcass or something, and drops it on the ground, and then starts like easing towards this weird statue thing, like sniffing at it, very suspicious. And
This
then
was a terrifying
Thomas
moment.
has to make a decision. And what did you do, Thomas?
I proceed to use my what was it? Not
Mind thrust.
Yeah, mind thrust, and attack the dragon.
And I'm like, oh fuck.
Well, that was it was like an ambush basically. I mean,
Yep.
it was the right thing
It
to
wasn't
do.
a bad decision,
It
really,
was
like,
the
given
best
the information
decision.
you had.
This was the thing. This would have been an
The-
awesome trophy
The only
for
thing
Mr.
is,
Did it go
Money.
so well?
I expected this entire party to approach this thing at once when I was planning this out.
Yeah, not
Well,
half of it.
We're missing our DPS and our bard.
So he does the mind thrust on it. It rears back, and then it
Now it's-
speaks back to you
Now
through
it's
the
bad.
mind
Oh, that's right. It
thing.
does.
Yeah.
and says something about like
It was
you
me.
don't belong here.
Yes.
And then does an ice breath blast at you and takes down like half your health at once.
Yep.
And then you guys make my favorite decision ever, which a lot of D&D players don't make, which is we should run now. And you turn around and you just book it down the corridor.
Yep.
We
Not
ran. We were like, oh fuck. I'm like running ahead of
You
him.
shot at it. Wait, before that, or
I
yeah,
did,
right before
I
that.
did.
Oh, yeah, you
shoot
tried.
I
it.
shot at it.
It
Okay, so
didn't
I
work.
am.
Because we thought we were committed.
Right.
We thought this was our fight, so
Right.
you shot at it.
I am the damage, like in our group, because John's not
You're
there.
range damage and John's melee damage.
Yeah,
pretty
and I
much.
do a lot of damage, and so I shot at it, and it did nothing. And then I was like, we gotta go. Because Thomas does not do enough damage without me. I don't know even what happened. Apparently I could hit it, but it just didn't land that
Yeah, that
You actually just didn't roll high enough.
particular
Okay,
hit
yeah.
wasn't. Yeah.
But I was like freaking out, and I was like, we gotta go. So we ran.
I tripped over a log.
And then
ran
it
into a log.
chased us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so then we had a whole chase sequence, which is funny. We're gonna plan out a chase sequence.
We did have
But
a whole chase sequence.
Long story short, without going through every step of
Yeah.
the chase sequence, they crashed through the woods, got out, like vaulted themselves over the wall. Oh hey, this is somebody that paid to get super chat, so we'll respond to them in just a minute.
Oh, cool.
They vaulted themselves over the wall. Crowboy's out there just playing away,
Yeah, just
and
rocking
just
away.
sees them running out, and then a friggin' dragon breaks through the trees.
Oh, cool.
So I think you did Court of Shards and like killed 5 kobolds in one
Yeah.
blow, including
So
your own
I'm sitting
people.
I'm sitting there playing Old Town Road, and there's like 100 in front of me, and I see that stuff has gone down. So I Court of Shards, and like 100 kobolds just turn into blood in front of me. And time to go.
Oh,
and then I think
yeah.
I switched to make Fast Song.
Oh right, so yeah,
Yeah.
he has a song that increases everybody's speed, so they're all booking it, but the dragon's still fast
Flying
and flying,
over
yes.
us.
and it releases another big cone of ice breath, and then you drop, like you go
Yeah.
go unconscious on the ground.
That's
I'm
right.
I'm like 10
I am
feet ahead of you.
KO'd.
I'm like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Like, oh god, what are we gonna do?
And I
So
was
I'm
pretty
flying
sure
forward.
you were gonna die, but then she was like, "Wait, John asked for health potions last time,
Yeah.
and you had them on you."
You had the bag.
That's right. I had the bag.
You
I
always
had the
had the
satchel.
bag. With
So-
the wand in it that teleports
Yes,
creatures.
I have the. Yep, and I had
So
the
she
wand, too.
grabbed like her tiny little fairy body,
I'm
like
just,
pulled
like,
one out and force
funneling
fed
it
you. It
into
was
your
like,
mouth.
and then
It's so good. It's so
finally
good.
you guys make it to the end of the cliff. I think you just like belly flop, like slip and slide on the mud, like
Yes.
just off the edge of the cliff.
Right. We make it all the way to the edge of the cliff, and I was like, can't run anymore.
And then
Die.
you guys go off. We kind of have to go into more detail here because this is like a really like a lot of stuff happened in this one moment.
Intricate.
she floats him down as you fall through trees trying to grab at stuff.
And I'm failing every
It's
like
not working.
fine grab I'm trying.
No.
But I weigh like 2 pounds, so I'm
and-
like not falling that fast.
Right.
You get to the bottom with him and then realize, so he's falling, you catch him right over the river.
Yeah,
Like he stops like over the river. And then you see him falling up there, so you're like, ah crap. And so you fly off that way,
I do.
which cancels it on you, so you drop into the water.
Very
And you
cartoon.
sink. And you
Into the
sink
water.
because
You
you're
sink,
a stone man.
but you don't have to breathe, so
But I
that's
don't
nice.
have to breathe because I'm
Right.
aquatic.
Right.
And a rock.
Aquarium.
I'm an
And a rock.
Aquarius.
Yeah, I'm an
Unlike
Aquarius.
Crowboy over here, who's definitely a Gemini.
Yeah.
So you lower him to the ground, and then
Right,
you fly
so
over
we-
try and help him as the dragon crests the edge of the cliff and then starts flying down too.
Right, so I'm freaking out because
So you guys take this
the
away.
Thought has already died, and I'm like, oh god, I have to think of a plan like immediately, or else we are fucked. Because the dragon has now come down. You're underwater and you're falling. And we like just make it to the ground, and I'm like, we have no plan. We are screwed. We are absolutely screwed. And so I make like a split decision, and I dive into the water towards Thomas or towards Deathocles, but I'm again like.
Yeah.
I'm not even a pound. I'm just this
Yeah.
tall, and I immediately start like. Don't I immediately start like?
yeah, we're doing like the.
like-
Yeah, you start. So this is great because I don't know what anybody's plan is. Also, this whole time, Allison has been going like, I have an idea that I can use in like a last case scenario,
I'm like,
but I
have
don't
an
want to
idea,
do
but
it
it's
yet.
So bad.
And I was like,
It's
I
such a
know
bad
everything
idea.
on your character sheet. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm interested to see where this goes.
I'm so scared.
So she tries diving in the water. I'm like, make a swim check. It doesn't work. She just
Fail.
swept
So
away.
I
Oh,
start-
wait, I'm sorry. We forgot the part before where Treebeard busts out of the
Oh, I did,
jungle
yeah.
Oh,
and
right.
destroys a bunch of kobolds.
Well, because the dragon
No, he
is like
hits the
booming on
dragon.
you
oh,
first.
okay.
Douglas runs out and just buries his axe in the back
he
of the
gives
dragon.
us the opportunity to jump off the cliff.
Okay,
Right,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
He gives us
Sorry,
that opportunity.
sorry for doing
So that's what
That's
delays the
true.
dragon chasing you.
Okay.
That's a
Um,
good point. The dragon is chasing us, and then suddenly you're like,
Because by
The trees are moving apart, and one tree is like
Yeah.
running through them full speed.
suddenly there's just like the walls around this place like crumble, and you just see this giant tree with an axe just like
by the
straight
time
into its back.
the dragon comes over the edge, you guys are already in the water.
That's yes.
Yes.
So it eventually lands and starts sticking its head and looking around for you guys and so she gets swept away. She's flying off, like reaching.
I
You
am.
try to reach for her on your turn and it doesn't work.
Yeah. I'm not
But then you're
flying
like,
off,
wait, I have this ability that lets me telekinetically move 5-pound objects.
Right.
And I was like, technically she fits in that description, so if you want to use it, go for it. But she'll take damage from it or something, so you end up like pulling her towards you and
I
end
did
up
take
grabbing
damage.
her.
Yeah.
Dragon's looking around for both of you. You manage to communicate to him.
Because I'm psychic.
I'm like, look at my brain. I'm like doing all these things. I'm like pointing at my head, like, do
Yeah.
something.
I basically allowed you to use a mind reading thing.
Which
Right.
I have in my
Which,
inventory.
yeah. And
You asked
so
me
you were
that.
able to communicate to him that you wanted the wand. And so I was like, oh,
Yes.
she's going to try to hit the dragon with it and
Right.
see if it does something.
So the dragon actually at this point had stuck its head underwater and had found us. Because you would like sunk to the ground. The dragon is not an idiot, so it flies down to the water and it had sunk its head to the
It was
ground. And I'm over here like flailing, trying to get you to read my mind. And once you do, I say that I want the wand. And by that point, the dragon is actually coming at us. He was swimming towards
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, so the final moment here is the dragon just like drops into the river and just pushes off and lets the river propel itself at these two in the water. And then Allison goes, okay, I touched Thomas with the wand. And everybody there was like, wait, what? And I looked at his health and I was like, technically that could work. Roll a d20 to see if it works. And she rolled, and she touches it, and he just like disappeared. The way I've described it is every time you hit it, it does like the Harry Potter like teleport thing where they like
The apparition.
yeah, they just like wrap around themselves in the fourth dimension or whatever and disappear. He disappears. The river immediately takes you just far away,
You
and the
just
dragon
zapped.
just like stops. Like, wait, what the
So
hell is
the wand,
happening?
the wand is about my size, so I'm actually like holding onto it like this as I just like float down the river. Like speeding.
and then you just run off into the trees.
Yeah, the whole time
Yeah.
I was just like covering myself in mud like Arnold in Predator.
Yeah.
It's like- but
And
then he
like-
looks at me. And so I just run away, and
Yeah.
it wasn't hard to get away from him in the thick forest.
20
Meanwhile-
minutes later, Kyle calls.
Yep.
Jeffrey
Meanwhile-
and is like,
Douglas is still up on top of
Oh, yeah.
the cliff, just murdering every single kobold.
Yes.
He does not like lizards.
"No,
I
he
really,
does."
yeah. Douglas Fir really does not like lizards because he was enslaved by them.
So it was great because then we ended the session with the literally every member of the party being in a completely different location. So as part of the, so we leveled up. I
Right.
basically gave each of them their own little thing to do.
Right.
They've sort of revealed, like, you went back to the Coliseum and had to talk with Mr. Millennium.
'Cause that's
You
what the
walked your
wand
way
is.
back.
Kyle
you-
called Jeffrey was like, so
you
my
ran into a
group
friendly-
tried to die.
Well, we'll get there. You ran into a friendly man in the woods who taught you how to shoot better, and then John
He
killed a
did.
bunch of kobolds and walked back. And at the start of the next,
I didn't
next
kill a
session-
bunch. I killed them all.
So this was sort of the introduction.
I was gonna say, should we? Yeah,
We
answer
start
the.
with
Oh yeah, real quick. I wanted to just read off. We got a comment on the super chat thing, which is something that YouTube allows
What is
now.
this currency?
From Crimson Minotaur, it's Yen, I think, because he says, "Hello, I love your videos in production. I first found this channel with the video Civilization 5. I'm not invading you. Thank you all for entertaining us. Love from Yokosuka, Japan."
Sweet.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
That's so
Thank you.
cool.
Also, by doing that, I believe he donated money to us. That's why he's
Oh.
featured there. So thank you so much
Neat.
for that. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining in, and thanks for the donation.
Thanks for the money, and also thanks for being from Japan. That's just like the coolest shit I've ever heard. That's just awesome. I don't know. I know that we have a lot of like British fans,
Thank you for being boring.
Thank you for being boring.
and like Brits are cool,
I guess.
Wow.
Wow.
but like he's from Japan.
So I'd say that session hit about the halfway mark.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
About halfway through our.
That was the first
Oh, wait,
main
is
big
there
thing.
another one? Oh no.
Or second big
This
thing.
is
When we, so I'll give a quick segue and then let you guys kind of take it away again. But starting back up, they met back up at the Coliseum. Mr. Millennium greeted them, praised them for the stuff they were able to catch, specifically about the Velociraptor. You like that a lot.
I slapped Kyle.
Expressed
I'll
that
do it
he.
again
Thanks.
You're wrong.
Expressed
We
that
paid $5 for it,
he
so.
would have liked
Ow.
the dragon.
That sounded like it hurt.
Yes, it did.
They were also introduced to a couple of background characters, seemingly behind him, which were the weird snake woman that led his like that was the captain of the guard there.
Wait, what are we talking about?
The next when you guys got back to the Coliseum, you
Oh,
reconvened, met with Mr.
Oh, we
Millennium.
met his. Yeah.
He was in a conversation with a strange muscular snake lady and a short cloaked hobgoblin guy.
Oh wait, what? Oh, I wasn't here for this.
You
I
weren't.
think you weren't. I think you missed the first half of this one.
You did.
I'll fill you in on those characters later since I think I didn't
Oh,
yet.
this is the one that John wasn't in. Oh, this one has another twist.
He was in this one. He just joined late. That's all.
Yeah, but there was a twist.
Oh right, there was a tweet.
Tweet?
There was a
Tweets.
twist.
Tweets.
So Mr. Millennium basically handed you guys an empty bag. Said everything's that you need is in here. Go forth into the world and do the things on this list.
Spent 40 minutes on that bag.
And he left, went off to do work, and you guys started making your way towards the town of I'm forgetting the name of it. White something.
White Claw.
You happen to remember? The town of
White Claw.
You remember the name of your
Not
hometown?
off the top of my
Wait,
head.
where are we now?
So they make their way through the forest towards this town,
Oh,
heading
right.
north and out of the jungle into the world to go perform some
I was gonna say.
deeds for Mr. Millennium.
Now we have a map. Now we have a list of things Mr. Millennium
Yeah,
wants.
you have a chore list, you have a destination.
There's only one real way out of where we are
Right.
physically located on the continent,
Which
which
is
is
a mountain pass
Yeah.
through this like range of mountains.
so we're on a mission.
I personally
Um,
think it's important that Matt spent an hour-ish
Yeah.
trying to figure out how the bag of holding works.
I don't know.
I think
what
this
bag
is
of
very
holding
important
is.
considering
Like,
what Jeffrey did
okay,
later.
Close enough.
So
Like,
yeah,
like,
for
like-
context, they spent an hour trying to figure out how to see what's
Fun.
inside the bag,
Which was
Yeah.
cool. It was kind of like, yeah, it was like a.
and they failed. They never figured it out.
No,
and
we
my
did.
personality fund.
No,
Cro-
y'all didn't.
Well, yeah, we kind of had it. But my Crowboy's personality fundamentally changed because he was trying to figure out what the bag of holding was, and he stuck his head inside. And like I was greeted by just like a void that had no emotions.
It was
or
a
sound.
cave.
It was a
You
cave.
stuck
yeah.
your head through, and it
Yeah.
was just a black and white cave that you couldn't breathe in.
But I
and you could
pictured
see all
like
your stuff
wind.
laying around.
Anyway, it was very strange for me.
That
But I
was
still
fun.
couldn't figure out what was happening.
We just spent so much.
It is worth noting because it becomes very important that the whole like planes and dimensions and stuff I made up from scratch for this campaign, so they do not follow the traditional like D&D route.
Right.
So yeah, inside the bag of holding, he specifically was he was inside of a cave. Everything was black and white, and you couldn't breathe, and all your stuff was just kind of laying around on the floor.
But I couldn't make out any of the stuff.
Yeah, it was all shadowy.
Yeah, it was like all shadowy or, wispy.
So Thomas, what were you saying?
Also, Thomas saw a creature on the path, which was a completely silhouette, like a silhouetted owl thing that flew off in the direction they were flying
and I
in.
spoke to it.
Yeah.
Psychically, because I can do that. And I said, I see you, and it said, I see you too. And then we just kept going.
Yep.
Like owls do.
And eventually found yourself at White Cliff.
White Claw Village.
Which was a village of orcs, half-orcs, and humans.
Mm-hmm.
That looked like it had been attacked recently with several buildings damaged. And they were greeted by the chieftain that saw Douglas, thought he was a forest spirit, and said that their prayers had been answered and took you guys to see their town shaman to figure out how to repel the attacks that were coming out of the cave every night.
Yes, they were being tormented.
And then what happened?
They all came knocking on my door.
Can we
Actually,
just
you
say-
literally knocked
yeah.
on our door.
It was amazing, and this is just like how
This is the tweets.
Kyle is the best DM on Earth because
Yeah.
it was us four
It was
in the
actually just us
campaign.
three. We were waiting.
Oh
for
yeah.
John was
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I was there.
John
We
was
were
there. This is
expecting.
Oh, this is.
It was just
very-
like these.
This is odd.
It was
What the
exactly like
heck?
this.
It's a new D&D
I don't know.
character.
So right on cue,
What a
The
twist.
door knocks.
Is it pizza pie?
It's Ian.
I planned this entire
It's
thing.
Ian.
Oh, Ian's here?
Yeah.
How's it going? Come on in.
Come on in.
We're doing
Hey.
Pathfinder stream still.
Hey,
Hi, Ian.
So they were just talking about how someone knocked on the door randomly.
Yeah.
Literally,
Not randomly,
right
very
as
planned.
you knocked.
Well, planned,
Stream
but
cut.
for them.
So yeah, we're sitting there and we're all playing for like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that.
Sorry, I just want to make sure our stream didn't cut out. Is
They're
it
not
still
acting
going on
like
yours?
it has. Yep.
Okay, cool. Sorry. I cut out on my phone.
It's
Sorry.
loading slow.
Go right ahead.
Anyway, we're playing for like an hour and a half. I'm wasting a lot of time with the bag of holding, but like
Yes.
Jeffrey's not here. And then we like go into the village and the chieftain's like, "Oh, go talk to my son. He lives in that cabin over there." And so we go and we knock on the door to the cabin. And then Kyle gets up and opens the door, and Jeffrey's just standing outside. And he's like, "Hey guys!" And then he just walks in and starts playing, like without missing a beat.
Yeah, we're
and
all
we're just stunned.
stare-
Like we don't know what just happened. Like, were you in your car? And he was.
Jeffrey,
Yeah.
Jeffrey
He had
lives
been-
an hour and a half away. And he wasn't even part of our group. And we just showed up to this village, and he's like, "Go knock on the door." Kyle
It was
opens
so
it, and then
cool.
just we knew John was gonna show up, so I spent like 10 minutes looking at Jeffrey, trying to be like, "Does John look different? Why is Jeffrey here?" And yeah, you just jump in, you just sit down, and you're like, "Anyway, so hi guys, I'm the local shaman," and we're like, "Why the fuck is Jeffrey here?"
Yeah, it was planned out for a good long time. Kyle, he planned. I remember he told me to, if I wanted to play, make a character and all this, and he said, also don't tell anybody that you're doing this. I want this to be a surprise. And this was like a month beforehand at least.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it was planned for a long time. And yeah, the day of, it was very interesting. I got here fairly early because Kyle didn't know exactly when I would need to show up. So I was waiting in the car for a good little while. And yeah, no, that was pretty fun and entertaining to do that.
It was so immersive.
It was. It was. Okay, and so then we meet with Vaz, and John shows up. John, are you there by that point?
I showed up. Yeah, I think that's when I showed up, just a little bit after Jeffrey.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was a little bit after Jeffrey. Okay, and then the story continues. And you talk about how your town's being plagued by a big.
Yeah, so basically,
Yeah, take it away.
my village was getting attacked by this giant golden automaton. So, like, every single night, this robot would walk out of the cave that our village is next to, and it would just start destroying houses all night. We would try and fight it off. We couldn't ever destroy it, and it would just keep coming back every single night, and we were trying to figure out a way to stop this.
And why was that happening?
No reason. So, if I remember correctly, basically, I went into the cave, and I found a...
Catfolk dude had come through. Which is
That's
important.
right. Yeah, that's what started it
Catfolk
off. So, Catfolk dude came through, went into the cave. And then shortly after that, basically, there was like a large rumble or something, like some sort of noise or something like that. And I went to go check it out. And that's when I came across my shadow owl companion. So, which I believe is the same one that y'all went across earlier.
I didn't know about it. I never saw it yet.
Yeah, so basically, I'm a shaman of life. What is it, the spirit of life?
Yeah.
And this is kind of like the exact opposite of that.
Do you have Jeffrey's character yet?
I don't have his drawing done,
Oh.
unfortunately.
So the owl is basically like a spirit of bones?
I think that was the name of it, yeah. So you have like, good light and like dark stuff, like multiple different powers coming in.
Yeah, so it's an
This is your
interesting
spirit animal.
concept, and I'm taking on this owl, which is giving me new powers and stuff like that, and but right after that is when we started getting attacked. The village started getting attacked by this robot. Nobody in my village knows I have this owl, so I've been keeping it secret. The owl's nice enough, I like it, and all that, and so I don't want to hurt it or anything, and I want to figure out a way to stop the robots, and that's when these people come in.
Wait,
So-
we have a super chat.
We do have a super chat. I'm gonna read it real quick.
It says from Sky Hunter, wonderful job, LOL. Keep up the good work on the videos too. Lots of love from Scotland.
Hey.
Yay!
Thank you.
Is
Scotland.
this where you weigh in on your opinion of the Scots?
By the way,
Better.
it's probably worth noting that
Than the Brits.
Douglas Fir is a Scottish.
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
big words.
Scottish.
Douglas Fir and everybody from the place he comes from has a Scottish accent, so that's fun.
They're all
Yeah.
Scottish.
Crowboy is what's the accent? New Zealand.
Oh yeah, my accent is Korg.
Korg.
Korg is the accent.
Korg is the
From
accent.
that movie about Iron Man.
So just because we're running kind of just to not try to go too far over our time here, we have they fight off this automaton thing when it comes in. They manage to destroy it. It melts into gold slag. I believe you spend the entire night tearing
I
it
take
up and
all of
sticking
the
it into the
gold.
bag.
So gargoyles are known for being for having like weird quirks
Oh,
and
okay.
like maybe collecting things,
Yeah.
which I didn't intend to use at any point.
Yeah,
But now I hoard things, including dirty gold.
yeah, no, especially with the bag. Now that you can stick
Now
it
that
in the
now that I have an infinite bag, I'll take it.
That has finally helped them figure out how to access the items in the bag and see what was there.
Yeah.
They didn't
So-
know how to see
had a bunch
what
of
all the items were in the bag. They were just kind of like trying to guess. They'd put their hand in, like think of something and see if it would come out.
Which it would. That's how it works. Is you think of
There's
the
a
item
bunch
and
of
it comes
supplies, and there was a painting of Mr. Millennium, which is what
What
you
time
see
are
on the
we
stream.
out. Yeah. So
What time are we supposed to go to?
30 minutes ago, but we started 30 minutes late, so.
So everyone's trying to figure out how to open
Oh,
this
wow,
bag
okay.
for like the entire time they've had it, and then Jeffrey comes along and just turns it inside out.
So,
Alright.
so to skip ahead a little bit, just so that we can cover like the next actual big part. They spend the night. The next morning, they venture into the cave. They find that it's been completely collapsed, and they have to take sort of a detour where they come across giant dwarven ruined doors, and have to solve a bit of like a magic puzzle to get inside.
Yeah. We make it inside though.
Yeah, and
Eventually.
Make it inside, and we kind of like start exploring all these different corridors.
Now what's a dungeon crawl?
It is a dungeon. We're officially in a dungeon.
basically trying to
See.
find what's sending these things out so that they can stop it from happening.
Right. So it's like this 2-story, like with an open area in the center, kind of dungeon thing. And so we start going down these like different hallways and just start opening doors. I think that's the first thing we do is we just start going different directions. So Dahvien and I went upstairs.
We split up the party.
We split
Never
up the party.
split up the party.
So
We talked about not
Crowboy
splitting up the
goes
party,
right,
and then we
and
did.
Sir Douglas Fir and Vaz go left because Jeffrey's character thinks that large tree people are spirits.
Yeah, it's the spirit of the forest, obviously.
Right. So he's like, this dude's a god, and so he follows him. We all know that that's a bad idea, but he did not at the time.
The opposite.
Because I'm following footprints because we saw catfolk footprints, and I'm trying to find a catfolk person.
Right. And so Crowboy stumbles into a room.
The best room.
Easily the best
Yeah,
room.
because
What did you
he
find
always
there?
ends up in the best room.
I walk into a room that's empty except for just like a suit of armor. sitting at the end of the
A suit
room.
of power armor.
Yeah, but I don't know that, so I'm like trying to talk to it. I'm like, hello, hello, what are you doing? But it was not saying anything. So then I go and I poke and I prod and I turn and it opens up for me like power armor in Fallout 4. And I
Yeah.
step inside and it chose me. Then I just have this like golden Wolfenstein power armor.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like dying to ghosts or something.
And then you get
Yeah.
to fight off. You get to fight off shadows in your armor.
Yeah, and then I test out my armor because there's like shadows in the corner and they come at me. And I'm like, nah. I have a gun on one arm and like a blade on the other. And I think I found this armor because I was useless for the other 4.
I actually wasn't sure who was going to find it, but it was convenient that you found it. Cause
Yes. Because
you're-
basically my only skill is playing songs for my buds, and then none of them ever want to take the bonus that I gave them. So, like,
Yeah, they all-
thanks.
Well, you always take the speed bonus.
So Kyle was like, here, now you are Iron Man. And I was like, okay.
You are.
So John and Jeffrey went left. What did you guys find again?
Yeah,
we found so Jeffrey and I wander into a we see one door and we pass it by because it had writing we couldn't read on it, so we're like, nah, let's keep going, maybe we'll come back. So we go to another door which is bigger, and we managed to open it by taking the handle off the other door, and we open it up and we just see a war between automatons, like from they kind of like Kyle apparently didn't know anything about this, but they're like the dwarven automatons from Elder Scrolls. Just a bunch of those fighting a bunch of shadow monsters. And we just like see that, and we're just like, nope. And we back out. We back out of the door.
Like you two just like opening the door and just like seeing all this. There was like a giant like bladed spider monster fighting all of them.
Oh yeah, made of swords.
And then just...
and so we go back into the other door we found, and we open it up, and there's just an archway with we don't know it, but it's basically an old timey camera, and we're kind of looking at it, and then Jeffrey looks through it, and what do you see, Jeffrey?
Yeah, so I'm going through. I'm seeing pictures of what is landscapes, right? Or no.
When you look
I look just through the glass. I look through it, and standing on the other side of the room is basically like a baby-faced ghost person, and like a shadow person, but it had like a baby face. And I take a look out of the camera, and nothing's there, and I'm freaking out.
And I don't see it because it's not. I can't see it.
Yeah, I can't see it, and this thing was just freaking me out, which it's like continuously haunting me the whole time I've been in this cave. After that, so
and Jeffrey was like legitimately scared.
Yeah,
he
was like,
left his own
because
house.
that description. So he finds power armor, and we find a whole bunch of nope. So
Yeah, just nope.
And then upstairs, you guys run into...
We run into like what are they called? Automatons?
Yeah.
We run into like a little
Construct
smaller
is the Pathfinder word.
Yeah, construct. And we try to convince him, can you see our papers?
Yeah, he's like, papers, please.
And we were like, yep, we got those.
Yep.
Didn't work.
Didn't
Can you
work.
believe us?
We
didn't
We
attack him, though, right?
unsuccessfully bluffed. What?
Didn't we run from him?
You eventually
Yes.
ended up running from him and then ran into the interrogation room.
Yeah, into
So
the far.
We have 10 minutes to explain the rest of this story.
So we run. Yeah, so we run into a room. The room is an interrogation room, like Kyle said.
Oh no! I forgot about the room.
Ends up. Now the automaton is locked out. The construction's locked out. We're locked in. And turns out there's I always say it wrong. It's a wraith in the room too. So we proceed to fight the wraith.
There's a giant mirrored wall, and out from it pops up a wraith, which then attacks me. So I can't do anything. My gun doesn't work on shadow creatures, which this place is plagued with. I am small, which means if anything hits me, I die, which they can do because they're shadow creatures. The only way to escape them is by flying, but we're in tunnels, so I'm mad. I'm mad that I'm in here.
she's not scared. She's mad.
I'm mad. So we end up coming back together with all of our different varied stories, and we spend the night like idiots.
After murdering the one automaton that you found in the hallway.
No.
That was the next day.
You killed that first.
We let that automaton fight off the wraith.
Oh, you did, and then you finished killing it.
Yeah.
By we mean Sir Douglas for no reason.
He started attacking us.
He was so nice to us.
He was
He was
trying
so
to take us to
nice.
jail.
Yeah. So
We needed to go to that jail.
we ended that session with them deciding to go into the interrogation room, close it off, and do a sleep so that they can be ready to fight the next morning and sort of like share some stuff. So this leads us to our final session. They come back in. They spend the night there a little bit. They sort of like swap stories and have some bonding campfire time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jeffrey just keeps
Being haunted.
freaking the hell out. Nobody knows what's wrong with him.
I had a dream about the baby-faced shadow person.
Oh, we skipped the big giant door we entered in.
That's
All
fine.
right. So,
That's fine.
we mentioned that you came through the door.
Well, it's kind of important. Though.
When they leave the room, they find that the entire place has been covered in a
help
layer
you?
of water, and the doors they entered in have been closed, and all the lights have turned red. And they navigate their way back to the big factory floor that they saw the battle happening in, and the door has been completely broken open by a whole bunch of weird waterlogged and barnacle-covered zombie things that look like they have thrown themselves against the door until they were able to get it open.
Oh, you left out Jeremy Steven Chad.
And they, oh yes,
I haven't gotten there yet.
they did at one point before that. You guys went into the last room that you hadn't visited, and
The
you
jail.
found the weird existential construct that was sitting in the corner and had been for
He was adorable and we
thousands of
loved him.
years.
And so we took him in, and then we went to go figure out how to escape this place that was now full of water and red lights. So we go into like this.
We do have a super chat, real fast.
yeah, super
Sorry,
chat.
from Candy Meow. I feel like we didn't appreciate Kyle's fantastic artwork of all the party's characters enough. It looks beautiful. Keep up your great door monstery work. Greetings from Germany. It's been a different place every time.
Germany.
Thanks, guys.
Woo!
The art is awesome.
Yeah, Kyle put more effort into like any one of those drawings than I've put into any.
So we eventually make it into like the big like open like room area in the back, which has another set of large doors on the other side,
And a conveyor belt in the middle.
and a conveyor belt with a Gatling gun in the corner.
There's all kinds of crap in here.
3 large cylinder containers against the wall that we enter in from, holding like 20-foot tall jade constructs.
Well, you didn't see what was there at first. You went up to the control panel
That's
during
true.
the ensuing fight and turned them on, and like this thing opens up, and it's just a big green robot face inside.
Right. And there's a control panel on top of that, and
And on the far end,
On the far end, there's the
big
door.
there are
Oh,
bigger
right.
doors on the far end of this thing being held open by a giant lobster creature that has jammed itself into the doors.
right. So we all split up in this room. I go up to the control panels above the jade construct enclosure.
I run up to a
Pause.
giant Gatling gun.
And meanwhile, I struggle to run up to anything because I'm slow, because I'm a tree!
Matt like busts in, starts taking out shadow creatures
The
one by
zombies.
one.
He starts
Oh
beating
yeah,
the zombies
zombies. Literally just
Destroyed.
When we say Matt, we
destroyed.
mean Crowboy. Matt actually wasn't there for this session,
Oh, right.
unfortunately.
Well, I did
Yeah.
better than I did when I was there.
And Dahvien has decided to walk towards the large lobster creature and do like a mind thrust thing.
It's of my people.
Right. So this horrifying creature is holding open the doors, and Kyle, the DM, says something like,
Well,
"Dahvien feels weirdly at home," and we're all like, "Oh fuck."
and this whole time, you guys have started hearing a voice booming throughout the thing, saying that it knows you're here. It wants the prism, and it's requesting that you come show yourself.
Right. So Thomas starts doing like rolls here and there. We're like, what's happening? Turns out he was rolling to see if he was going to get like swayed to the dark side.
Pretty much.
Because this creature and him have some kind of connection.
He's a Jew.
And I'm over here trying to figure out the control panels with the cute construct that we adopted into our family. He's so adorable.
Aw, poor
And
Jeremy.
eventually, you fight the lobster thing.
Yeah, we all Crowboy.
it's
Mentally.
in bad shape.
Yeah, he
Crowboy and I take on the lobster.
You guys
Right.
end up fighting pretty
We
much everything
weaken-
in the room.
Yeah, we
You
weaken it
hit the
enough.
lobster,
Yeah.
He hit it with
I
the
was,
gun.
I was
a few
also
times, too.
shooting it with the Gatling
Yeah,
gun.
he got the Gatling gun
You-
running. And
I was rolling like
Which one?
crap.
Yeah, I mean, I shot like
You
at
shot a
least
lot.
like 12 bullets. Okay,
It's a lot.
I got it.
I do so
some
much.
of those times.
So I do so much damage. But this whole fight, I did almost no damage. I was just rolling
It was a huge room. You couldn't
nothing.
Make it to
I was.
anything.
Yeah, you were slow.
I had a hard time getting to places. When I finally got there, I was rolling like 5s.
Oh, right, because you slip and hit the Gatling gun and broke it.
Yeah, exactly.
We got 3 minutes.
So,
we
skip
teleport.
again.
We teleport. Thomas teleports that lobster thing with the wand because it's
Yeah, we
crushed by the doors anyway, and
then you get the doors open. The
We
big
do.
doors, you manage to flip all these switches. The big doors open up, and through the doors is a very Stranger Things-esque, like...
No, you touched the lobster with the
observation
wand.
yes,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
captured the lobster, and then through the doors there's a big observation deck. There's a big portal behind it, and there are just 4 giant tentacles coming out of the portal, which seems to be the source of the voice. It's 4 at first.
Oh.
They replaced themselves as you attacked them, but they were...
So we all keep a safe distance, except Crowboy is like on his way shooting at it with a gun from a safe distance, and then when Sir Douglas Fir finally catches up, he heads straight towards the tentacles. So Crowboy is like taking out these little zombie things like here and there in this room. No, these are shadow creatures.
It's worth mentioning. I can't damage the shadow creatures, so I went for the only fleshy thing I could see.
Right. And so you head straight for the tentacles, and he actually hits one, right?
He tries to swing at one, and it doesn't hit at all. I think he rolled like a 21, and the tentacles just like part and move out of the way.
Yeah.
And then they grab him and grapple him.
Yeah.
Okay, so this.
And then I have. At this point, I had
40 damage to you.
At this point, I had like 42 health. It did 30 damage in one hit, and I was down to like 12. And then at one point, I was down to like 4 for some reason. Like I was down to like 4 health.
Well, so you got
for some
grabbed.
reason.
The rest of you are trying to figure out how to shut this thing down, and you realize several parts of it are jammed up with like metal bars. So you're pulling stuff out psychically from a distance. You're killing stuff off to the side. She's going back and forth because the automaton is trying to access the controls in the back of the room, and none of you have been able to figure out what they do yet, so you end up helping him get there.
Yeah.
John is about to die. I'm looking up death rules because I know that next round, this thing's next turn, John has to make a will save, and if he fails, which he will, it pulls him into the portal, and they will never see him again.
I was about to be out of the game.
Crowboy, though, shoots it with his armor gun, manages to take down half of the one tentacle's health, and then John, on his turn, right before the tentacle's turn, rolls a nat 20.
Also, with the Jade...
that hasn't happened yet, I don't think.
Okay.
And he manages to sever the tentacle and escape, and then also get hit by every single shadow in the room, but like get away with 1 health.
I have 1 health left.
And then your efforts back in the back managed to finally open up one of these things.
Right.
And
I
a
fly a
gigantic
little construct up to the control panels.
Yeah, this whole time she's over here messing with the control panel.
This huge Jade Colossus thing emerges from it and starts immediately focusing in on this portal and just starts shooting lasers out of its face at the thing in the portals.
And anything in its way.
And so it finally comes to a point where you pull the last thing out of the machine.
Yes.
I think you or Crowboy or somebody like cranks the control around in the control panel, and then something breaks. All the lights turn off.
Right.
The portal starts cycling through. It changes, and then all the tentacles just like get sliced off and fall on the ground. And then it cycles through, and you guys see like multiple different planes flashing through, until finally it lands on what looks like your plane, but somewhere else. And then the portal starts closing. So everyone has to just book it through this thing as fast as possible, which is easier because thankfully you're playing your song that increases everybody's speed.
Right.
The only person that wasn't going to go through
was me, because I was going to go back to my village, so I went up to the portal, was saying bye to everybody when...
But here's the thing. Keep in mind, the entire facility was on lockdown. The front door we came in was completely locked and shut. And there was no lights in the place at all anymore. And there was still...
like John talking, not Sir Douglas Fir.
and there's still a giant baby... still a baby monster ghost in there after him.
Yeah.
So I grab him.
Oh, is that why you grabbed him?
It is.
No.
So I grabbed him because he stopped at the portal, and we're all rushing to get through. So he hesitates, or I used to think he hesitates, and he stops, and I grab him and I jump through with him. And then as the portal's closing behind us, we see Jeremy Seamus Chad, or whatever his name is.
Jeremy Charles Chad or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. We know there's Jeremy in there somewhere.
Whatever you guys named him.
We gave him like 4 different names, so we just combined them all.
He's running at us, and I'm like, no.
Like running and waving in the distance, and then the portal closes. And we left off with this group standing outside in the middle of like Oklahoma, basically, just wide open fields. in front of this closed arch portal thing now, and in the distance there are several wooden houses. And that's where we're starting up next time.
That was it, boys.
Hooray! That's the whole story. That's what's happening.
That was everything so far, yeah.
So, so next time we play, we're going to start up on that session. We're going to record it, and if it turns out, I will be posting it to this channel.
You're posting this to the channel too, right? So people can refer back.
Yeah.
Cool.
That way, people who start late. But yeah, that's basically the story. What do you guys think? Are you interested in seeing more of that? Do the characters sound interesting? Is that like a story that is actually interesting to watch more of?
We lost
with these
half
guys
our
playing?
audience.
We did, yeah. It was a lot of talking. This is
Yeah.
going to be more useful later on, I think. But
Right. This is more of a reference back to. You should put like timestamps in the description for when this goes
yeah,
up.
well, somebody will do that. I'll let someone else do that in a comment.
Sure, someone else will do that.
We're on a bit of a
So basically,
delay,
there's four big sections. You have the Colosseum, you have the dragon, kobold things, and then you have his village, and then the dwarven area.
Yeah.
I think most people that are watching this are probably interested in.
I mean, probably. If you've stuck around this long, I assume you're interested in seeing the actual game be played.
Yeah.
And it's it's way more fun actually watching because these guys are great at playing their characters.
It's been fun.
And Kyle's a great DM. Which
Kyle-
they commented.
Kyle is an
I'm
outstanding
agreeing
DM.
Yes.
And we'll be able to
Completely
have, hopefully more guest appearances and stuff in future episodes and things. We
How?
do that. A lot of it has. You don't know.
Okay.
You don't know what I'm doing.
true. All right, whatever.
But yeah, basically the only things that we're thinking about are like making sure that it's still just as fun for us to continue playing.
How?
Who is
People are
this
coming to
Al?
The other stuff that we're doing later that I'm not going to mention right here.
Oh, okay.
Is it Ricky?
But yeah, that's pretty much the plan, and we're gonna record them. We're gonna post them up separately. They're not gonna be live because again, this is a nightmare to try and put together.
You can just keep the pillows.
Anyone is welcome to enter. Yeah,
Rachel, what's up?
Hey.
that's pretty much it.
That's Matt.
Oh
Thank you
my.
guys for staying with us.
So I think that's pretty much it for the stream today, though.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and close this down. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the long D&D story. And tune in when we actually get the game up. We're gonna record it, I think, in a couple weekends if everybody's available, and then hopefully that means we'll have it up like roughly by the end of this month or early next month. We'll have the first session up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody who stuck around.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody. I'm gonna rush over there and try to turn this off now.
No, the longer you take, the more awkward this is gonna be.
Shout out to Germany, Scotland, and Japan.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Here's the.